Our studio is in disarray, and we are currently living our lives in pandemonium.
Well, that's what you get with us.
Yes. Let's get on with it.
Welcome to the Let's Quit podcast.
Quitting is not always a bad thing.
If you have the right mindset, quitting can be the most powerful tool you have on your journey to success. It's certainly been helpful for us.
Whether it's flying through hurricanes, building our businesses, or just trying to get to bed on time, we're always trying to level up and improve our lives.
This is the show where we share the lessons, experiences, and friends that have helped us live this incredible life. So let's quit the bad and grow the good together. All right, Jill. Well, hi. This is the Let's Quit podcast, episode, 51?
Yeah, I believe it's 51. Yeah.
Our life is falling apart right now. For good reason.
Yes.
We just found out that we're getting the keys to our commercial space. When you're listening to this, it'll be tomorrow, so Wednesday.
Yes.
So we are busy packing, which is why we're on a different computer with a different microphone set up.
Right. If you were watching on YouTube right now, you'll notice that our backdrop is completely different because we've had to move some of our recording setup. There's like no room to move chairs anywhere in the studio because there's boxes on boxes on boxes. So
if you thought this house was cramped before, man,
you should see it now. Yes.
Anyway, don't hit the table. You'll make bumps on the mic.
Oh. I'm just so not used to this setup. I know. Just don't.
But anyway, we wanted to make sure we got a podcast out before Christmas. I hope you all are having a wonderful time wherever you are in the world.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just catch you up with what's happened since the last podcast.
Yeah, since the last podcast, which is our Q&A.
Yeah. So Q&A went really well. It was really well received.
Yeah.
What else?
Since then, we've really just been focused on commercial space related stuff. I mean, we've still been selling. I've still been making phone calls, sending out boards, the usual, doing some like social media marketing and all sorts of stuff. But since it's getting so close to Christmas, stuff is actually starting to slow down because now it's to the point where even if you did order a board, it might not get shipped to you in time. So people are like slowing down on their orders, which is why October and November was so much more busy than, mid-December was. But other than that, we've just been buying new computers. We've been buying office chairs, desks.
Did we talk about the fact that we started doing Instagram ads again?
I can't remember if we talked about that last week. But yeah, we did Instagram ads because that fell into one of the questions somebody asked. It was like, what did you think was a failure? What was something you messed up in your business, but you're glad it happened?
Okay, well, we've been running Instagram ads again. We got a couple sales out of it. Yeah. It wasn't super. I mean, it was a single image. So you need to understand, when you start running Facebook and Instagram ads, it's a whole other thing. Like, you make 15 to 20 different types of ads, you run them against different audiences, and then out of the 15 or 20 that you run, one of them will blow up, and you just point all of the money towards that one ad that for whatever reason is doing really well. And these ad marketers don't know why either. I mean, they can sort of see in hindsight why it worked well, but it's very impossible to predict it the first time. So, which is why they do a test run of like 20 different ads.
And we just did it on one. It was a single photo Instagram post that had already had a decent amount of engagement.
Well, that's why you chose it. You picked the best Instagram picture that we'd had in a while, and you just ran an ad for it. We got a couple sales out of it. So as far as we're concerned, that's a win.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where people started emailing us saying, is it going to be here for Christmas? Is it going to be here for Christmas?
And at this point, we're like, all right.
It probably, but if you're... I don't know.
It was to the point where I'd ask, I'd say, hey, well, it depends. What city and state are you sending it to? And they'd come back and say, oh, Houston. We're like, oh, perfect. If you order today, it should get there before Christmas. And then they'd get so nervous and they're like, maybe I won't do it. And so at that point, we were like, let's just pause it for now. We'll pause the advertising for now, and then maybe pick it up right before New Year's, try to get some New Year's sales out of it. Just because people probably won't buy anything like on Christmas Day. Yeah.
Anyway, it just got to the point where we were about to start selling to the people that wait until the day before Christmas to buy all their gifts. And I don't want to be responsible for the emotional bomb that will go off if we don't give them the gift in time. So, so we stopped running our ads. But I don't know. I consider it a success. We got back into it.
Yes, we did.
So, that being said, we've been so busy with a lot of, stuff.
We did a lot of updates to the stud stack. That's what we've been really busy with too.
We didn't even talk about that. So we completely overhauled. That's what we've been busy with.
Yes.
I'm like, what have we done? I know we've been working hard, but like, what have we even been doing?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We have been overhauling the stud stack. We spent a lot of time this year trying to grow the stud stack and improve what resources are there, but we noticed that there was a need for some structure in the stud stack. We noticed that a lot of people were leaving because they didn't know. We got this feedback that they didn't know what the next step in their business was. Mm-hmm. They wanted to be there. They enjoy the community, but like when you're overwhelmed with, with questions you don't know the answer to, then you don't need more information. You need answers. You need someone to point you and basically tell you what to do next. And that's not something that we did in the stud stack. If you asked, we would probably point you in the right direction. But
you had to know what questions to ask. We would definitely answer them.
Right. And so that was sort of on us. Like we just took that and we're like, yeah, that's our responsibility. People are signing up for this. They don't know what they need and they're expecting us to tell them.
So now when they come in, we kind of tell them what they need. We tell them what questions to ask and then we answer.
It's not so much we tell them. It's just like, hey, here is what we've seen among all the hundreds of business owners that have been through the group. Here are the things you need to do at step 1. Here's the things you need to do at step 2. And then once you're at step 3 and you've got a consistent business, here are the things you want to work on. And so I think just breaking it up into different, like, what level are you at in running your business? Are you just starting out? Are you trying to sort through things, or are you rolling along and you just want to 10x what you're doing? So we sort of split things up into those 3 categories, and it's gone off really well.
People have loved it. Absolutely loved it. We've had people that are like, maybe in the middle range for their business. Like, they're not just starting out, but they're not, doing $100,000 a year or anything like that. And they're like, hey, I'm actually going back and doing the beginner programs. Well,
it just gives them clarity on what it is that they should be chasing. And a lot of times that's half the battle, is understanding what that is. So, it's been really good. We launched those programs earlier this week. It's kind of funny. The software, you got to pay for the super extra pro version of our course software. If you've taken any of our courses, programs.jennieanddavis.com, if you're interested. We don't push these very hard on YouTube anymore, but we've got programs like sales programs and marketing programs and how to run a business programs where you don't need to join the stud stack or anything. You just pay us a one-time fee and you get access to a class where we teach you how to do this.
It's basically just our YouTube videos, but more in depth and without the fluff.
Way more in depth.
It's just all info based
and no drama. It's literally just the info. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we in that software, we built these programs for stud stack members, but they wouldn't let us hide it from the public. It was like a super extra pro level feature. I didn't want to fork out another $1,000 for this software. To get the pro version. And so what I did was I priced it at $10,000. And then when you join the stud stack, we give you the discount code to make it $0 because it's included with the price of membership.
But that keeps like people who are like, oh, well, I want to join the stud stack, and then they get confused and they think just because they bought this program, they're part of the stud stack.
Because even if we made it like $3, we would give it away to stud stack members for free. But if somebody bought it for $3 thinking that was the stud stack, or then thinking that they would learn something out of it, and it would just be more confusing for them. So we priced it at $10,000.
And then made a coupon for $10,000 off.
And it's kind of funny. I was a little scared, like, is this still going to make you type in credit card? Because I was worried about the members of the stud stack not wanting to take the programs because that $10,000 thing scared them away or whatever. But as soon as you type in the discount code, it completely gets rid of the credit card information. And so you can just sign up for it with your email. But
everybody in the stud stack thought it was super funny. They're like, well, I don't know, for $10,000, everybody was cracking jokes all day. And we're like, trust me, it is better this way.
Yeah. So, but we've been working really hard on that. There's a lot of things. We've been waiting to move into the commercial space. We sort of hoped we would maybe get keys a little sooner. Mm-hmm. And so we knew that from, I don't know, when did we write all this down? Like from December 10th until the end of the year, we knew there were certain things we wanted to get done, but we didn't know, and this might be helpful to anybody listening, but we don't have a lesson this week. Sorry. It's just going to be us rambling again. But like one of the things that's really helped us at the end of this year is there are certain things, passion projects, things that we've wanted to take a deep dive into that we just haven't made time for the rest of the year. And now we've got time because we're basically just twiddling our thumbs waiting for the commercial space to be ready for us. So we just outlined all the things we wanted to do, and we asked ourselves, how many days do you think we would need to accomplish it? And we just put them all on the calendar. And so they're in like 4 and 5 day chunks. I can
show the people on YouTube who are watching.
So if you're on YouTube, you can see this, but it's just a calendar, and we've drawn with different colored highlighters on the days and weeks, like what tasks we were going to do. And like we didn't get to move in when we thought we would, so we just took the stud stack upgrade and just plopped it into last week. So we were able to still make progress, and we're not behind schedule. It's just we have 5 to 6 tasks that are going to take 3 or 4 days each. And we're just at every 3 or 4 days, when we get done with one, we look at the list and we say, okay, which one makes sense to do next? All the while still hoping for keys to the commercial space, which we're going to get Wednesday now. So, yeah, we're just excited. We're trying to make continual improvement. And we're also starting to write our goals for next year, which you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we can talk about that, and we can actually, I don't know if we're going to do like a separate video about it or what, but maybe like a year in review. But
we'll have more goal content in January.
Yeah, for sure. So I think this last year, the goal was to just get started and then make a little bit of money. And that most definitely worked, especially for Samara. Our goal for Jennie and Davis was to grow the stud stack, and we definitely did that. Not only do we do that, we got a revamp in and a big improvement right before the end of the year too, which is awesome. But really for next year, it's to keep going with what we've been doing, but just make it bigger, better, faster. How do we reach more people so that we can make more money, but still doing the same things we're doing, still doing the boards, still reaching out to business owners.
Yeah. Well, our whole philosophy is that we build a machine that does work for us. And so what I mean by that is like YouTube videos is a perfect example. We boiled it down to a storyline of like, what are the elements of telling a story? What do you need to include? Okay, there's got to be a rise in emotion and a fall in emotion, and then a nice happy ending. You know, there's that whole roller coaster. There's like, how many kids movies do you need to see until you start to see they all follow the same pattern? Good YouTube videos do the same thing.
Or those cheesy Netflix Christmas movies.
Yes.
Those all follow the same pattern.
Right. But I mean, to have consistent income and to have consistent view counts and stuff on YouTube, we very much have to follow a formula. And so we figured out what that formula was for us this year. But now a YouTube video doesn't take us 2.5 days like it did last year to produce. We film throughout the week. So, I mean, that slows us down a little bit, but it's not so much conscious effort in filming. And then I sit down and if we've done a good job filming, I can bust out a video in like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So what used to take us 2.5 days now takes me an hour and a half. And that time is now opened to building and selling and all sorts of other stuff. So that's what we mean by we're building a machine. We're boiling everything down to its essentials. What do we need to get done? And then we just pull the lever. We just continue to repeat that process over and over and over. So going forward now with our business, we are trying to automate the cutting board business.
Yes.
We're trying to automate the sales of the cutting boards, maybe with a couple of employees. I mean, there's going to need to be some human interaction there.
Absolutely.
But, you know, if we can outsource some of our marketing and run some Instagram ads, that saves Jennie 6 hours a week from being on the phone. So if we can hire a salesperson to be on the phone 3-4 hours a week, and then we can hire Instagram to do our advertising for us, Jennie now all of a sudden gets 12 hours. She can focus on selling kitchen tables or coffee tables or something bigger, more profitable. So that's what Jennie means when she says like bigger, more, better, faster is we want to automate the things we've been doing that are successful. And then we can focus on the new things that we want to do.
Right.
And over time, we'll have this nice little collection of like machines that produce us money, which is what a business is all about.
Yes.
While providing meaning and fulfillment.
Yes.
Or trying to.
Yep. So those are our goals for next year. And we're really excited to start the year off in this new space, have a ton more room. We've been designing the new studio. That's been like part of the fun that we've been having the last couple of weeks.
We drew it up in SketchUp, and it's hard to make it look 100% right. But we still get really excited when we look at it and see the possibilities. Yeah.
So we're doing that. We're just like getting all the offices put together, thinking about the logistics, like where we're going to put tools, where computers are going to go, kind of like filming angles too.
Oh, yeah. Well, they asked me where I wanted electrical outlets because in the contract we negotiated several electrical outlets. And I didn't know, it was too much space. And I knew that like no matter what I picked, I'm going to want to move everything, right? Like,
right.
That's just so we're going to spend plenty of money on extension cords and power strips. But
because even if you make the most beautiful plan at the beginning of exactly where you think everything should go, give it 2 months and you're going to want to move.
So I spread them out all evenly throughout the warehouse and hopefully they're all in the right spot. Yep. So, or at least close enough that an extension cord will work without losing too much power.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know, extension cords, you lose a little bit of power at the tool. So if you've got your, I noticed at most, we got that big whiz wheel thing on the wall, where we've got that long orange extension cord. Anything I plug into that loses maybe 20% power. Like the leaf blower, when I plug it into the shorter extension cord, it's got like an extra, some extra oomph to it. So I notice it there a lot, but I don't know, just if you're using extension cords all the time, try to run shorter ones and you won't have as much power loss.
Yeah.
Fun fact of the day. I'm not an electrician, but,
but we do electrical things anyways.
Yeah. Man, every tool is back ordered. We've been waiting to buy some bigger tools with some of our end of the year money so that we stimulate the economy instead of just giving our money to Uncle Sam. So we've been trying to buy some tools, but everything's back ordered.
Yeah.
Like the supply chain issues are finally catching up from COVID. Like it's been 2 years coming, but like finally all the slowdown, it's all starting to like crash down into the supply chain of like, material shortages and labor shortages. And I mean, that's why you can't see new cars on the dealership lots. It's just the consequences of shutting down the world for a couple weeks a few years ago. But so like tools are back ordered, so we can't really, because they don't charge your credit card until they ship it.
But we need it charged before December 31st or on December 31st.
We even paid a bigger security deposit than we wanted to, or a couple months rent this year with our new lease because we wanted to get rid of the money so it wouldn't get taxed at the end of the year. So consult a CPA before you do any financial activity.
Right. But we definitely did. And we're like, all right, no, that sounds cool. We can make that happen. So.
But yeah, it's kind of funny. Like we're just trying to make sure I don't know. I feel like you're always calling places to say, don't cash the check until Monday. And now we're like, cash the check now.
Yes. If that is not cashed before December 31st, we are going to have serious problems.
I'm going to buy it somewhere else if you don't.
Right. Yeah, literally. So
anyway, it's just kind of funny. And I don't know. It just feels weird. Like we're just so like, can we just pause on that for a second? We're so blessed and we're so thankful that we have more than enough money this year. I don't know. It just feels really good.
Yeah.
Again, we're not paying ourselves very much of it at all, like a tiny little drip. But we just want to be able to reinvest it back in the business so that we can very quickly hire employees and they have everything that they need to be successful. So, we're in that weird in-between stage of like, it's getting a little bigger than just you and me. But it's not quite there yet to hire a couple of employees. Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that'll change in January.
Yeah, I hope so.
It might.
We'll try our best to make that change. But So what other fun things have we been buying for the commercial space? By the way, we have not revealed that we signed a lease or got keys or anything on YouTube yet. So this is like podcast only.
We teased it last week.
Info.
Yeah, we said that we signed a lease.
Yeah.
But we are officially getting keys soon, and I'm sure you'll find on YouTube some videos. We've been trying to think. It's been so hard. Like we are so bad at communicating like life changes or business changes, like big things. I don't know. I've been watching a lot of like other woodworkers and business people that like move facilities. I'm like, okay, how did they release to everybody that they changed locations? Some people just wait till they're completely moved in, which I don't know how those people keep secrets. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can keep a secret, but it's very hard for me, especially when I'm excited about something.
And then I was thinking about this the other day. So I have like a couple people that I really follow seriously, like on YouTube, where I will watch every video as soon as it drops. And they've done similar things where they were moving into a new house or a new office space or whatever. And when they reveal things very suddenly, like there's just a video that drops that says, we've moved and here it is, or we have a new product drop and here it is. I kind of feel like left out of the process. I'm like, I follow everything and I feel like I missed that aspect. It makes me kind of sad. I wanted to see your progression, you know, before you dropped this huge product line or whatever. And I've noticed that I really appreciate it when I feel like I'm participating in the process.
Right. So, but is that just your perspective? Do those people, I mean, those people make way more money than we do online.
Yes.
Do they know something we don't? Do they know that people don't care about the run up to the product launch? They just care about, I don't know. Kickstarter sort of like stands in the way of that. Like, especially been watching Jocko. Like Jocko's literally about to run a course on how to do Kickstarter and build hype for something before you even have a product. You just have an idea for the product and maybe a prototype or two. But like, I don't know. It seems like there's two different ways of doing it. But our content is very much like let's bring you along for the ride. Mm-hmm.
Follow the process, learn as we screw up type deal.
And we've already sort of like let the cat out of the bag that we're moving because we toured 7, what does it say? What's the thumbnail?
7
like
massive warehouses or whatever.
Yeah. And I almost died in one of them.
You did? That was bad.
Oh yeah.
You really did.
It on camera, but there was one, we talked about this a while ago, but there was one where we were touring it and I was like trying to get a good angle like of looking into the building or whatever. And there was like, they had just finished paving the parking lot and I had stepped over the curb and like it was like a 3-foot drop into like a mud puddle.
Like a hole. It was like a cement hole.
Yeah. And somehow in midair, I like double jumped like Mario style and like pulled my foot out and just the side of my shoe had a little bit of mud on it. Nothing else. And somehow I landed back on the concrete.
You could have like really hurt yourself. That was crazy.
I'll be fine.
Anyways.
But yeah, but so yeah, we've
teased it already. People know that we're moving, but yeah, I mean, see, and I want to say like, oh, well, if you're watching, you know, this podcast on YouTube, comment down below if you want us to post like follow along or like a big reveal. But just by the nature of you listening and watching this podcast,
you want to see it.
You want you follow along. You're here for the follow along content. Otherwise,
that's why we get so many comments of people. It's kind of funny. People think that we are using the internet to figure out how to run a business. Now, don't get me wrong. We have taken some really good suggestions for our business, but I would say absolutely nothing substantial about our business and our vision of what we're trying to do has come from a YouTube comment because
very little.
They are so widespread. For every person we have telling us to do it one way, we have just as many people telling us to do it the opposite way. Mm-hmm. And if we ourselves didn't know where we were going, YouTube would be the most confusing place ever to be.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to say we tune out the YouTube comments because we definitely read them all, but like, we don't make decisions based off of things, or we try not to make decisions based off of things we read in YouTube comments because it's just a losing formula.
Right.
Because you got it's so arbitrary and there's a lot of experience down in that comment section, but sometimes it's experience doing things the way that we want to contradict. If we're coming in trying to disrupt the furniture industry, I don't want to follow the advice of somebody that's been building furniture for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like there's lessons to be learned, but I don't want to imitate them exactly.
Well, and you know what's really hard too is sometimes people will have amazing advice, but they just don't know how to communicate it. Or maybe they're, you know, not blessed with the gift of communication, or maybe they're not good at typing on a computer.
Or they're just angry people.
Right. And So, well, I'm talking about the people that like genuinely have good advice, but then when it comes across like typed up, it it's choppy. It's like, the grammar's hard to follow, and some of it's lost in communication.
A couple of really good suggestions have come from some very rude people. Yeah. And like, again, that's why we don't take anything from the comment section, because you never know, like, I don't know, you just never know the quality of the information down there. Right. And plus, I don't know, I feel like what we're doing is we're trying to be so different from what everybody else is doing, which may be a problem, but I don't know. It's working out for us so far.
Yeah, we'll see.
But, yeah. What else has been going on?
Yeah, other than just buying a lot of stuff for the space. I mean, we bought new computers to use because now we have this like whole desktop setup that we've been using to edit from home. And we're like, well, I don't want to drag that all to the commercial space because is it a personal asset? Is it a business asset? Like,
well, it's not even that. Like, again, just trying to streamline everything we do and make it repeatable. If I have to custom build an $8,000 PC for a video editor to come in, like, that's not a good process. We need to streamline so that we can just hire any 16-year-old video editor to come in and be able to just use an iMac, which is what we're filming on now, is our new like computer, and just make it happen. So we're just trying to streamline everything. That's why we went to GoPros to film, because everybody knows how to use a GoPro. Now we still got the nice camera.
2 buttons.
We still got the nice camera when we need to use it, but I'm blocking it. There it is. But like, it's going to be a very narrow use case for when we use that camera. Right. Just because 90% of the time the story is way more important than, having the most perfect, crystal clear 4K experience in the world. Right. I mean, this ain't the metaverse yet. We don't make videos in the metaverse yet, which that's going to be weird. Yeah. I don't know how that's going to look, but
I'm sure
I don't know if you guys have been following the metaverse at all, but it's like new technology. It's pretty crazy. If you've seen the film Ready Player One, it's basically that is coming. It's really interesting. But it'll be interesting to see how the world looks in 10 years. Yep. That's a little off topic for this podcast.
A little bit.
It's a podcast. Is anything really off topic?
Yeah, not really. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what we've been up to. We are about to get very busy. That's why I started the podcast off with like pandemonium, because
we're in like the last. I am looking at the calendar right now. We got like maybe a day or two. A day or two, and then probably Christmas Day, and then after that it's gonna be full throttle for a long time, because man, we got a lot of stuff coming up in January. Like, we're hiring our first employee. We're trying to revamp all of our sales and marketing and business programs. Yeah. We're going to re-release the version 3 of all those. We're trying to build and grow the stud stack. And that's just the media side of the house. Right. Jennie's trying to jump into new niches and sell cutting and charcuterie boards to people. We're about to get a CNC and start prototyping kitchen table designs. Like, there's a lot that's about to happen. Gotta go fly through some winter storms. Oh, yeah. So our lives are crazy. Throw that all into the mix. You ever think we do too much? Yes. Really? I'll give you this. There are like 2 to 3 days out of, 2 days every month where I'd say I'm like, oh my gosh, we do too much. Like something's got to give. What's going? We need to trim the fat. Like what's leaving? And then the rest of the days I'm like, nah, it's okay. We got this. So I feel like those are pretty good odds. I like being overwhelmed. I do too. I like it more than I don't. I like being overwhelmed for a while and then catching myself right before I crash. How often? Which never happens. It's never happened. But the 1 or 2 times that I've caught myself right before I crashed and took my own break, it worked flawlessly. So I just got to figure out what that rhythm is. Yeah. And then stick to it. So stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. Ask me how I do it. Anyway. That song's stuck in my head now. Jalen and Sean, stick to the plan. If you want to look it up for your listening pleasure. It's in the description of every YouTube video we've published in the last year and a half. That song is the fuel for our lives. Pretty much. Because we're really bad at sticking to a plan. We just want to change the plan. We're like, okay, this plan's been nice for about 2 weeks, but now I'm bored and maybe something could work better. So let's change the plan. Yeah. Well, what was it? Like the other day we were talking about your sales strategy or something, and you wanted to like completely scrap it. And I was like, why scrap it? You've just figured it out. Like, You don't need to like reinvent the sales process from the bottom up.
Oh, that's so unfortunately how my brain works. I'm like, but I got it to work. It works. So what's next? I got it. I did it. It worked for a while. Now what? Surely
what I learned from the last thing can't help me on this next thing. That would be crazy.
I think the mic just like freaked out for a quick second. Sorry if any of that cut off. The whole line just went red.
It's been doing that when you yell.
Oopsies. I'll stop yelling.
That's
Anyways.
why I've been pointing to it the whole time.
Anyways. Yeah, so we just have to get really good about like actually sticking to the plans that we write for ourselves, which is why we've gotten in the habit of writing goals at the beginning of every single year, because that gives us something to stick to when our brains want to like go off the beaten path and dive into every rabbit hole possible.
We have to make ourselves so busy that we can't get distracted. Because if we have idle time, if we sit here and twiddle our thumbs, we're just going to keep reinventing the wheel over and over and over. So we keep ourselves busy with too much discipline and too much structure so that we can't go off the rails. And that's what life's all about, really.
Yes.
It's just learning self-discipline and trying to be a better person and trying to give more to the world than you take.
Absolutely. I like that.
And on that note, it's time to end.
Yes. So we hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas. Are we going to record another podcast? This is the podcast right before Christmas.
Yes, it is. So Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
We will talk to you next week before New Year's. So I can't say Happy New Year.
Nope, not yet.
Nope. Don't have a Happy New Year. Not till next week.
No, you're not allowed to have it until next week. And anyways, guys, we will catch you on the next one, hopefully with some fun updates of the new space.
Bye.
Bye.